I know.
You know?
What exactly?
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Wrong one. Wrong one.
Nope, you got it straight.
Sunday is here when a small-town guy
Welcome to the Daily Planet.
meets a big city girl.
Lois Lane, Clark Kent.
What happens is out of this world.
Lois, I just want you to meet a super guy.
Believe me, I'm trying my best to be like everybody else.
You are a strange one, Clark Kent.
Am I?
It's the first love triangle just for two.
She's something, isn't she?
I hope you didn't make dinner plans.
I am all yours.
Don't fall for me, farm boy. I don't have time for it.
Lois and Clark, the new adventures of Superman.
It sounds like he made quite an impression on you.
He did.
The series premiere next.
Bastards are gonna own me.
Papa's getting wasted tonight.
I am completely out of ammo.
Cross my heart, smack me dead, stick a lobster on my head.
The situation has indeed worsened. You think?
And when I return, I'm gonna drink a bottle of scotch, as if it were Chicky von Richthofen's blood, and celebrate.
Afraid we're at an impasse.
You really are filthy.
And fine.
Come upstairs into my etching.
Maybe you could make a deal with 911.
Or maybe they could shine a light in the sky so you know when you need it.
That's really stupid.
I don't know, Kevin. That wasn't exactly a bad idea. A rock superhero, though.
That kid.
I know, right? Oh my god. That just totally caught me off guard when that episode was playing. I completely forgot about it. Like, it just cracked me up. So I had to add that to the intro.
That's it. That's one of two Batman references that I caught this episode or this half of the season, and I just kind of
one.
The Bizarro episode where Lex clones him. The name of the episode is Vatman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, really? Vatman? You couldn't call him Bizarro? Was that like, I don't know, maybe because they used it in Superboy in '88. I don't know if they could have used it or not. I'm not sure.
Huh. Yeah, they don't really mention a whole lot of like other world type things from DC other than like, say, Star Labs.
Oh yeah, that's true, huh? And even then it's not very like in-depth detailed this season.
No, we took this to Star Labs and this is what they came back with. And you only hear that like maybe 3 or 4 times in the last like few episodes here, because welcome back everybody. We're talking about the second half of Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, Part 2. So we're going through episodes 11 through 21 this round.
11. Oh man. I started with 12 here. It's fine. We're good.
Well, the 11th one was the honeymoon one.
No, I know. I'm totally teasing. I'm just trying to derail.
That's what you do here, Kevin. You do a very good job of derailing us.
Thank you. Yeah, the second half of the season, I was so into it. I was a little upset that it wasn't what we usually do, which is the 24 to 26 episodes. I was a little sad that we started or ended at 21.
Yeah, I know. It almost feels a bit incomplete. I mean, not so much the story points, but just how many episodes usually get. Because we've had shows that have been like 10 episodes long for a season. We've had some that are 13. But once you hit the 20 mark, it's usually like 24, 25, 26.
Yeah, like we had at least a good three more episodes of filler that they could have pushed into this season, and I'd been comfortable with it.
Yeah, because oddly enough, the filler episodes actually still are pretty charming, and they don't feel like utterly forced. We didn't really get a clip show episode the second half, and usually they try and throw one in there.
Yes, this was still back in that era. I didn't think of that.
I did
that one time.
Because I was like, oh, hey, if one of these episodes is a clip show, I can just speed along right through it and just catch all the actual and new scenes that they shot, which is basically amount of like maybe 15 minutes in that particular episode. Because all these episodes are about 46 minutes long with credits.
Yeah. Or they also didn't have a recap of the first half of the season. So it's like, oh man, I couldn't skip that neither. Because Friday the 13th had both of those things.
Yes. They never really got rid of the clip show episodes until about, I want to say 2008, 2010-ish. And if any show was doing it at that time, it was not many. Because that's when episode orders started getting smaller.
That's true. And those types of shows that did that were well, gosh, by and large, they were sitcoms, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just to give everybody a little bit of a break, figure out the schedule, buy them a little more time to get ready for the other episodes. They did serve a purpose, but most of the time they were just kind of throwaway episodes.
Have that pregnancy or not, whichever.
It's true. That's true. They would do that in Stargate SG-1 too. When that show was on, they'd actually do, because Amanda Tapping was having a baby a couple of times, and they'd either get her out of the show, or they'd get her out of the show, reduce camera angles to not show, and then other times they'd throw in a, hey, let's just do a clip show episode, and she doesn't even need to be there. So.
Oh,
I mean, it worked out for that kind of a show, and then if they had to do that here too, I mean, it would have worked, but they didn't have to.
No, and golly, this was a fun enough season that I'm glad that they didn't.
Yeah,
I would have wanted to have the time wasted.
Yeah, I mean, it would have helped with a rewatch to kind of speed things along, but just for giggles, I actually watched an episode at 1.5 speed just to see if I could still pay attention to it. And
oh my God.
Oddly, it actually worked. It didn't feel like it was taking too long. But I wouldn't recommend that. I'm not doing that again. I just wanted to see how that would actually play, and I'm like, huh, that's not too bad. But the voices sound a bit off when you do that, though.
Oh, I bet. That would probably drive me nuts. Like, ugh.
Yeah, this show is easily bingeable, though. I wouldn't worry too much about, like, you're trying to squeeze in an episode. It's all right. You can get 45 minutes of the show in.
I had to taper myself off during the weekend, like 5 Saturday, 5 Sunday. Like, that's all you get, kid.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I didn't want to diet myself out. I probably could have gotten, I feel like, all 10 episodes in one shift of work. So,
right.
Like, it was really fun.
There's 12 episodes we watched, though.
Was it 12? 12.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, 11. Sorry.
Oh, my God.
We're doing Steiner math here, everybody. You got a 33 1/3 chance of winning. Numbers don't lie, Kevin.
I was going to say, wait a second. Is this Scott Steiner?
Oh, my. Yeah, it could be Scott Steiner.
Oops.
Nigel, call
the lawyers.
The lawyers.
Yes, right away, sir.
Yes.
Yep.
That was fucking awesome, by the way. I loved that.
I loved Nigel, but he was only in like one fucking episode. I was very disappointed, because then they brought back the other guy that we thought was long gone, and I'm like, did they air some episodes like out of order here for no reason? And then we got Mrs. Cox there at the end. Oh, what happened to Mr. Cox? He's dead. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm not.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Mrs. Cox replacing Nigel.
Yeah, that was interesting.
She reminded me of Mercy, and so I was okay with that. Like, she, I guess, kind of paved the way for Mercy to be made in the same way that Prank paved the way for Hartley to be created. So that would be my guess. But Mrs. Cox was really cool. I prefer Nigel. Truly, I do. The Sikh gentleman, That's what I was going to ask you about before we started. Like, that episode must have been aired out of order at some point, because it's like, yeah, he was gone. They didn't explain it, but he was
Illusions of
gone.
Grandeur was Asabi was back. And it's like, wait, what? It felt like that was more for like an earlier episode, really, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, because that was another one of the filler episodes too. Like, there wasn't really much to that other than just having fun. And what was that, the one where they go to the magic club?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I love those in episodes of like this. There was an episode like that in Kolchak, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And then something else we just watched recently had a magic club. Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th. That's the one I was thinking of. I'm like, wait, was that Friday the 13th? Then you mentioned it. It's like, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that one was so corny.
That was good. I liked it.
Oh, yeah. This was cornier than that.
Yes, it was.
Because of the cameos.
Right. Because which one was it? Penn?
Yep.
Yeah. He was in that. I actually was hoping he was going to be the
he is
bad
just
guy,
amazing. I loved him in VR5. That made it good, though. I think like it was a pretty decent swerve.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's so very much to his character. Like, well, of course you think it's me. I've been standing right here in front of you the entire time, but no. It was red herring.
Oh my God. I'm gonna vanish right before your very eyes. So fast that even Superman couldn't tell that he vanished.
That was fucking dope.
In true Penn fashion.
Like Batman.
I'll always know him as the one of the uncles from Sabrina, the Teenage Witch, but
I didn't watch enough of that to know. I've always had a crush on her. I watched the show. Yep. I watched the show whenever I could.
Yeah.
But I don't think I caught it nearly as much as like Clarissa Explains It All.
I never really watched that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Pre-teen shows. Teen shows.
I know, Kevin. I know.
You know?
What exactly do you know?
You know. About him. Where he is.
Oh, so you do know.
How do you know?
It's better you don't know. But I don't know officially. But then if a man in my position didn't know unofficially, I wouldn't be a man in my position.
So, now that you know, unofficially, are you going to tell anyone that you know? No?
No. I just wanted you to know.
Oh, well, thank you, sir. I feel much better knowing that you know.
Me too.
There is something you should know, though.
What's that?
The minute you step outside that door, I no longer know. And I don't want to know anything else worth knowing in the future.
That gag went on way too long. I know, everybody, but I really wanted to have that clip in here.
It was worth it. It was worth it. Like, that scene was the best part in this entire season. It was fucking great.
The mannerisms, the facials, it was pitch perfect.
Yeah, because you're like, for the longest time, you're going, where the fuck is this going? Is Perry trying to swerve them? Is he trying to confuse them into giving up what he wants them to know, to like give up? But
Right.
no, he really did know. Like, Lane is the best Perry. He really is. I love
Lane
him
is
so much.
fantastic, yes.
Yeah, like I love Fish. He's a phenomenal actor. I love Jackie Cooper, again, another phenomenal actor. But
yeah,
Lane Smith he's my Perry.
He's
Perry
the jam,
White.
baby.
And I can't think of the gentleman's name from 1950s. The guy who said "Great Caesar's Ghost." I can't think of his name.
Oh, I don't remember him. I remember him. I don't remember the actor's name though.
Yeah. I just remember where they go back in time and they figure it out that they're in caveman times. He's like, "Great Caesar's ghost," and Jimmy's like, "You can't say that anymore, Chief. He hasn't been born yet."
Oh God.
It was so stupid.
He usually is. That's okay. All right. Well, got any other thoughts before we get into our episode breakdown, Mr. Kevin?
Oh gosh.
I'd say
No.
for everybody, enjoy the casting while it lasts, because in the next season we're gonna lose 2 people.
Oh man, yeah. Okay, so we should talk about that at least.
Yeah, that was my one big thing before we get into our episode breakdown.
So we talked about it a bit during lunch, and like it was a huge loss to the show going forward from season 2 on, because they fired Michael Landis. They let him go and replaced him as Jimmy. And whereas the gentleman that replaced Jimmy or replaced Michael played Jimmy okay, there was really nothing wrong with it. It was not the same. He did not have that same God, I don't even know what you'd call it.
Chemistry.
Yeah, well, he didn't have the same chemistry with Lane because Michael and Lane had a fucking amazing chemistry together. I loved watching them. But Michael has a certain vibe to him that he has in just about everything. Like he had it in this, he had it in Special Unit 2. Just a very like street smart persona.
Yeah.
And the other kid did not have that nearly as much. And I think he played Jimmy to such a hip point that it made it cool to be Superman's pal, because Jimmy was never cool. Like you kids never wanted to be Jimmy Olsen. Like they wanted to be Dick Grayson. There was nothing cool about him until Michael Landis played him.
Right.
So, I mean, good on him. Good fucking on him. And like I said at lunch, I didn't realize it until this rewatch. This season is why I like him so much. I didn't remember him being in it, but like this, I think is just why I so instinctively liked him in like Final Destination or in Special Unit. Like I remember liking him so much as a kid. So like there's that subconscious love for him when I see him as an adult. Like, oh yeah, it's him.
Yeah, he's got a certain charisma to him, and he can get like the dry wittiness down. It feels like it's part of his personality, actually, and how comfortable he is in that. He's very comfortable in his skin in this role. I really enjoy him in this, especially in it too. You mentioned Final Destination. There's just a total class act. I think it took a couple episodes for him to figure out the role a little bit, but with his relationship with everybody from CK to Lois to Perry to basically everybody, like he fit. He was a great cog. And the reason they gave for letting him go is he looked a little too much like fucking Dean Cain. Like literally that was the excuse that they had. And it's like, fuck off. That is the dumbest shit I think I have ever heard. And it's also one of the first times he ever got fired from a show.
So they let him go and replaced him with someone that looked even more like Dean Cain?
I know, right? It makes no freaking sense. It's like somebody got it up their butt that they didn't want him on the show for whatever reason. And I do not think it was the showrunners or the directors. It's probably somebody over at ABC that are like, you know what? He's taking a little too much shine away from Dean, and he really wasn't.
Or was it Dean being upset that he was taking a little too much shine away from Dean?
I kind of doubt that. Dean's a pretty stand-up kind of guy.
That's what I've always heard. And I've never personally talked to him, but you can kind of feel how people are just by gauging the way that they move around. And he seemed like a pretty like peaceful dude.
Right.
I don't know.
And he seemed to get along with just about everybody he's ever worked with. So I really have my doubts. Like if somebody's saying Dean was the reason he's not on the show, unless I hear that from like Dean himself, I'm not buying it.
So I was like, that guy's got to fucking go.
Yep. Gots to get going. But also soon to be departing the show, Tracy Scoggins as Kat. She will be leaving at the conclusion of this season. They felt she was a bit too risque for the show, and they felt like this is a family friendly show. We don't really need that character, and she also opted out of her contract too, so it was mutually beneficial for her to leave the show here.
That sucks. I mean, hooray for her, because I'm sure she got paid for having to not violate the contract, but them cut the contract.
Yeah.
That again, hooray for her. But I really liked the character. The character was so fun that when you hear that Cat Grant was going to be in James Gunn's Superman movie, you're like, oh, how is this going to go? And the first picture you see of Cat has boobs like pushed out Sydney Sweeney style. Like you're like, hey, I recognize that. That's Cat.
Yep.
But golly, she was fun and she had chemistry with everybody. She could have a good scene with Clark, with Lois, with Perry, with Jimmy. She had the best scenes with Jimmy, I think. Well, no, I mean, she had the best scenes with Jimmy and Clark.
Yeah.
She was able to have very human moments with Clark and Lois. And I really liked and appreciated those because she was almost Selena Kyle-like, where she's the sex goddess higher than everybody else, and everyone's got a preordained standard of her. But she's really not that. And she very, very seldomly lets it out. And she lets it out to very few people like Clark or Jimmy and Lois. And then like somehow tries to finagle it that they never mention it ever again.
Yeah. So it's unfortunate. I hate it. I'm going to hate to see her leave the show, but you know, she was a lot of fun. One of my favorite scenes was her being in the confession booth and quite a few times, and then she tries to put the moves on the pastor that she's trying to talk to.
And I love that you could hear him running down the hallway.
Like, nope, I'm out of here. That and her knowing all the tips and tricks for the hotels, the honeymoon suite at the hotel. She's just like, oh, this is how you get the water, this is how you this is how you do that. And everybody's looking at her like, how do you know your way around this place? I love coming here. It's my home away from home.
And I love when they're all stuck in the hostage situation. She comes downstairs for another fucking nightie and a breath of fresh air.
Yep. They're like, no, leave. Get help. We need help. And she's just like, whatever. She comes and goes as she pleases. Nobody gets wiser to that at all.
And what I love so much about that is I don't know if you could say that they can't get away with that today. I'm sure that they could because she's an empowered woman. But like this was before, or maybe you're just around the time Anita Hill blew the whistle on Clarence Thomas.
Oh,
and
true.
So like sexual harassment was, I don't know if you could say that shit in the workplace today. Like,
can't say anything in the workplace today.
You can't pull out your nightie and be like, I'm gonna go get fucking boned upstairs or in the fucking janitor's room. I'll see you guys in a bit.
Yep.
Like,
I'm gonna score.
But I mean, that was her family, and if you have a close work team, I mean, it gets to be that way sometimes. There's always that really one person. There's always that one.
Always the awkward jokes that you could get away with. It's like, oh yeah, the teasing, the razzing, the good stuff.
That would have been me and my buddy Danny DeLuna. We got away with everything at work.
Name dropping.
Yep. Danny knows what he did.
And Kevin does too, apparently.
Yes, I do. Movie theater, best job ever.
Oh, I bet there's some stories to tell about that for sure.
Nah.
And some that you're still watching for the whether it's been enough years to go by.
The statute of limitations.
Yep. Some have probably been exceeded. So, well, Kevin, talked about a little bit about the show, and you want to talk about some episodes?
Yeah, I think we should. Let's get through them because there's a lot. Well, I mean, it's less than usual, but there's a lot to get through.
Yeah, a little bit to unpack. So, going to start off with Honeymoon in Metropolis. To investigate shady meetings between a congressman and an arms dealer, Lois and Clark go undercover as a honeymooning couple. The experience teaches them a little of what it would be like to share their lives with someone. All right, Kevin, did you like going to the honeymoon suite with Lois?
I did. It was fun. Anytime you see Lois by herself and watching TV, it's funny because it's a vulnerable moment for her. Yeah. Lois is so guarded and has the strong woman persona, minus the shoulder pads because we were out of the 80s. But when you see her in moments like the honeymoon suite, she's in a bathrobe, just out of the bath, watching a romance movie and admitting to herself that, golly, I wish I had a boyfriend. So it was cute seeing her in moments like that.
Oh yeah, she has a very good charm to her and total sweetheart. And she knows she is enough on the sexy side to somewhat tease the audience, but just, just enough.
It showed her gams getting into the bathtub. There was that. And you're just kind of like, oh, legs!
She's got legs. She knows how to use them.
But they did not hypersexualize her in this series like they did in the next series. Of course, ABC was like, sell that shit. Make sure you get her ass cheek, everything. Airbrush it too.
Oh, was that a Desperate Housewives you're talking about?
Yes. Like they let her be sexy in this, but not too much. Like you said, this is a family show, and they knew that, and they ran it that way. So they didn't over-whore it like at all. Kat was as bad as it got, and Lois was not that bad at all.
No.
Lois, please get a grip.
Oh, believe me, I'd love to.
Get a grip, everybody.
Shoots a load like a shotgun.
Pump action. No, this episode, I really enjoyed it, and we did get to see a little bit of her and Clark kind of getting to be a little more, I don't know, on the same page together, possibly same wavelength. Although later on we get to an episode where she's like, "I love you like a brother," and she totally friend zones him at some point, and we'll get to that episode later. But this is one of those nice little breadcrumbs along the way of their relationship and how it's starting to develop. And you also get to see Lois be super highly competitive with like games and like everything. It's really funny because Clark was like getting legit mad. It seemed like God damn it, you just have to win all of these, don't you? Especially Monopoly. I have no more money. Boop. You don't now.
She's a fucking turd. She was a turd, and he loves to put her in her place. That's the best part.
Yeah.
Like, how many times did she try to scoop him, and he would like, or try to tell her, I don't even remember what episode it is. Be here at a certain point. That's where Superman's going to be.
Yeah.
And he sends her there, and like, it was a red herring or false flag. He was never going to show up at all. I love that.
Yep. You got yours, girl. And they also tried their best to do an imitation of like Deep Throat by presenting a character named Sore Throat.
Sore Throat.
I'm like, how are we going from Deep Throat to Sore Throat? Only that's kind of awkward.
What was he trying to hit? Was it like Robitussin or chamomile or some shit like that?
Something weird. I couldn't quite figure that out. I'm like, somebody get that man like a bottle of Robitussin like you were just talking about. It's like, is that his shtick? He's supposed to be constantly like half sick when he's talking to everybody, and that's why he's like 50 yards away.
Yeah, kind of like he reminded me of God, the character from Little Shop of Horrors in the Corman picture, where he was a hypochondriac, where like he's constantly got something wrong with him. He constantly needs medicine. Medicine is food.
Gotta have the medicine. I know it was a fun episode. I kind of liked it. Project Shockwave trying to do a little government conspiracy and just trying to spice things up a little bit. So it was interesting. For overall story on it, it was kind of basic, but I liked all the elements of the character development going on.
Yeah. I clicked on the wrong thing and I just went to pictures of the no.
Yeah, it's a pretty decently rated episode. We're reading synopses off of IMDb because I do not want to be reading paragraphs here. So, all right. Let's see here. Next episode number 12, All Shook Up. Superman flies into space to stop an asteroid headed toward Earth. The impact leaves him with no memory. It's up to Martha and Jonathan to make him remember who he is and how to use his powers before the asteroid wipes out all human life. All right, Kevin. Superman versus the asteroid. Looks like Superman won this one, but what did you think about this episode?
Gosh, this episode made me stop and think about something that was really important about this show. His parents played a very pivotal role. And I want to say it lasted the entire series. Like the mom specifically, like she helped make Martha and Jonathan hip, like truly like a 90s couple. It wasn't like in previous incarnations where the dad had a heart attack. They were very prim and proper. And the mom was weeping at home on the farm while Clark sends money home so she could live. It wasn't like that at all. Like they were a much cooler couple. She's an artist and just doing her thing while Jonathan's running the farm, and they were so goddamn funny and I loved them. Sorry, that just derailed me from the actual question. What was the question about? What did I think about the parents trying to remind him? So my favorite part was them just automatically having faith that everything was going to be okay. It was sure it was weird that he had amnesia, but it was still perfectly safe to knock him off that building to show him that he could fly.
It was so freaking funny. Mom, Martha just gives him on 3, 2, boom. It's like, oh damn, Mom. That's actually one of my notes. Is like, good job, Mom.
She just fucking pushed him off a building like a bird, a mama bird. It was amazing. I really loved this episode.
It's a really good episode. I really like this one. Basically, everybody's got to confront their feelings towards things in this one. And, we get Asabi back. Kat, we just mentioned, talking to a confessional and trying to hit on the pastor, everything. And Lois even saying goodbye to Superman and everybody, just doing what they can to enjoy their last few moments. But it's it's a superhero show. They're going to be just fine. So the sense of direness is not really there.
I love Kat trying to swerve Clark, pulling him aside, saying, wait, we're having a fair. Don't tell nobody.
And at least he's still got his intelligence to him on. We never really had a relationship, did we? And she's just like, no. He's like, yeah, I thought so.
It was so funny, so underhanded and cheap. I loved it. We've been having an affair. Don't tell anybody.
Yeah. I mean, everybody had a good standout moment in this episode. Even like Clark, and how it plays later on in an episode. He stops a car from wrecking shop and ends up throwing himself to make it look like he got hit by a car. And then later on, when they find like Clark like dressed up as like some hobo and he's got no memory, they just attribute it to, he got hit by a car and it's a delayed amnesia reaction sort of thing. And then it's not until like the last bit of the asteroid is hurling towards him and he's starting to talk with Lois and starting to remember things. Then he gets his memory back, and that saves the day.
Yeah, this was a much shorter version of Armageddon, and I liked it.
Much better version.
Yes. Yeah. Didn't have as good of a soundtrack, but otherwise, yeah.
I don't want to lose. I don't even remember. I don't want to remember that song.
No, I had Leaving on a Jet Plane stuck in my head, so yeah.
I don't want to miss a thing.
See, that's I get that because my wife listens to Aerosmith all the time, and I'm just kind of like, oh, my eye twitches. It won't stop twitching.
It's starting now. Yep.
People are home. It's like, is he having a stroke? It's like it's kind of like that, but a brain freeze. A little bit of both.
A little bit of both. Hey, we'll just call in Richard Belzer to help you out with that. A little Law and Order. Dun, dun.
Dum, dum.
Yep. But he's got a little recurring role. He's one of like the police detectives or whatever.
Yeah, I love him. I love him being a cop. Like, 'cause again, that's just for the most part, all of my adult life, that's what he's been. But prior to that, of course, we remember he was the reporter. Yes, the reporter in Flash. So it being a comic book series so very close to that time period, I really wished he would have been playing that same type of reporter. But again,
that would have been fun.
Yeah, I loved him being the cop in this. I truly did.
Yeah. And you can easily tell he's about to settle into a very nice TV career after this.
Yeah. Yeah, very nice. Very nice.
Very nice. I think the only thing that kind of bothered me about this episode is they gave Superman an oxygen tank to fly out into space. I can hold my breath for about like 20 minutes. It's like, wait, he's flown into space before and it wasn't an issue.
Yeah, right.
Oh well.
And we've got a radio transmitter that can last that far, that distance out into space.
1,000,000 miles into space. No problem.
Yep.
Oh well. We don't watch this show for logic.
Nope. Time, space, velocity, none of that shit. Science.
We're scientificing right here.
You know what? It still made more sense than fucking sending oil riggers up to fucking blow it up.
Yeah. Oh my god. Just plant a couple of bombs and hope it works. Sure.
It'll be fine.
I liked Steve Buscemi in that movie just going completely crazy.
Fuck yes.
That's about the only thing I liked about that movie.
That and like the best line in it. Well, how do you know? Because I'm a fucking genius. That's why. It's like, yes.
Oh my god. Okay, let's see. What's up next? Witness. Episode number 13. Lois witnesses a murder and writes a story about it. Realizing this will make her a target, Clark and Perry work together to protect Lois. A task made more difficult because Lois does not believe that the killer is coming after her. I was okay with this episode. It was enjoyable up to a point. I liked Elliot Gould, but he was only in it basically for about 2 minutes.
That's all they could afford, man.
Yeah. Mr. Big Name.
I heard the voice. I'm like, oh, no. And I saw his hair, and I was like, it's Trapper! Yay!
Mm-hmm. I liked him in it. He could have been in it more, but
yeah. Right. Kids at home, I don't like MASH the TV series. I don't. I never have. It's boring to me. I don't find it all that particularly funny. MASH the movie, I will sit and watch all fucking day long, and it makes me laugh. I don't know why. I'm the polar opposite of everybody else, but he is my Trapper John. I love him.
I watched the show with my grandfather a little bit as I grew up, so mostly I think it was like reruns, but it was enjoyable.
Yeah, it's not bad.
One I'm never going to rewatch though, but
yeah, no, it'll never be part of my collection.
Yeah. Not to say it's a bad show, but it's not really going to be for everybody. There was times it got a little too serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stupid military, political stuff.
Well, it did bring in ratings. It was a juggernaut back in its day, so.
Yeah. But
That's
the movie's way better.
Yeah.
The movie's racist as fuck.
Yes, it is. Basically in this particular episode, I did enjoy the fact that the villain was a bit like Clayface.
I was going to point that out. This seemed to me that they just pretty much stole this from the Mud Pack. And they said, you know what? Let's adapt this Batman story for our stuff. And it worked out so nicely because, it was that actor that couldn't make it, but was such an amazing special effects artist that he could be anybody he want. And then one day he just decided to disappear.
Yeah.
So I mean that's a little bit of Clayface, that's a little bit of Mysterio. That's pretty goddamn awesome.
Oh yeah. And I mean, I felt it worked for what Superman would have to do. And basically just like in the first half of the show, Superman always just kind of shows up when he's absolutely needed for the episode. Otherwise it's largely Clark most of the time. What I really liked was how the episode started off though. Was Clark trying to golf and he couldn't figure it out. And the poor guy kept telling him, hey, tighten up your elbow. Hey, do this, do that. And then he starts nailing it. I actually wrote down in my notes, it would have been funny that Superman, for all the crazy stuff he can pull off, that he can't golf. That would have been a nice, fun gag, just to be like, he couldn't figure it out. Like, he doesn't have the patience for it or something. Like, he's got the patience of a gem, but he cannot figure out golf. I think that would have been a funny little nuance to his character.
Yeah, that it was a missed opportunity. Like they made him again a lot like Out to Batman, be like Batman, where he's very worldly.
Yeah.
And that's fine and to a point.
It works up to a point, right?
Yeah, but it's like he can't be good at everything.
Right.
He shouldn't be. I don't know. That makes him a little bit more Bruce Wayne-ish and a little less Clark Kent-ish.
Right. I do feel like they try to interject some of that in here because there was no way they were ever going to do a Batman TV show at this rate.
No.
And we still aren't really getting a Batman TV show like ever since. Like they want to keep that to the movies. So
yeah. Well, shit, a TV show might get everybody watching, but then they'd have to pay good writers.
No kidding. Just saying. It's funny because you can do a Superman show and most of them are freaking awesome. And the movies are a bit more spotty. So it's like the reverse of like some of the Batman movies.
Let's see. There are two good Superman movies so far.
Yep. And we've reviewed them all already.
No, you know what? I take it back. I will include Superman versus the Mole Men from 1951. That was a decent film. For its time, that was pretty impressive.
All right. I'll take your word for that. I have not seen that one.
It was just before George Reeves took the cape.
Yeah. Okay. I will need to check that one out and add it to the list.
Yeah,
if it's out there to watch.
Yeah. I'll have to find it. I don't know where exactly it would be.
Okay.
But it's out there.
Not a problem. Oh, there was a Star Labs reference in this episode too. Or Witness. A big reveal on this, I think, was that it was also a girl who was involved with that.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That was kind of a shocker. The woman that everyone kind of loved and trusted, she was the actual villain.
And Lois kicked the shit out of her too, so
she had it coming because she kept trying to kill Lois.
Yep, and Lois had enough of that shit. Knocked her the hell out. Go Lois. Okay. And then episode 14, Illusions of Grandeur. A magician is kidnapping and ransoming children. Lois and Clark try and track down the magician, but when Superman confronts the kidnapper, he is hypnotized into thinking that wrong is right. All right, Kevin, what did you think about this one?
Well, there was a little bit of hypnosis, but there were no Hungarians. No one was doing this.
Wrong is right. Wrong is right.
And if wrong is right and right is wrong, then you got to get your anyway.
And then I never want to be right.
This was a fun episode. Again, this was very much in the same trope of Friday the 13th and their magician episode, very much similar to She-Hulk and them going to the Magic Castle. There's certain tropes and elements that have to be in an episode like this, and it did work. It really did. They had one of the most famous magicians or most talented magicians in our lifetime present. So I mean, that was a huge bonus.
Right.
The story was not all that in a bag of chips, but in true magician fashion, there was a red herring. The person that you thought was supposed to be the bad guy most certainly was not. And unfortunately, the trope was the lady female assistant that nobody paid attention to was the actual bad guy, just like in Friday the 13th, just like in Kolchak. You're like, all right, whatever.
Kind of saw that one coming.
Yeah.
Good formula.
Because they hadn't mentioned her in so long, you just knew she was going to be the bad guy and be like, oh, yeah, by the way, bang.
I wrote down, I think it was probably 5 minutes into the episode or so, and I'm like, Constance is the bad guy. It's not because I remembered, it's just that's what I kind of figured.
Yeah. And I should have said that later on for the second to last episode, where I was kind of like, oh, wow, that's who the bad guy was. All right, then.
Yeah. We got Kat all dressed up. I liked it when she looked all sophisticated in this episode. I thought she looked pretty damn good because she was trying to go after
Mr. Chu.
Mr. Chu, a very rich man, the second richest man in the world, according to everybody.
Yes, who is very prim, very proper, always trying to impress his family.
Yep.
And then he ends up did he get married? Is at the end, is that what it was? Like they eloped or something?
Yeah, he ran off with like an exotic dancer. And she was mad. She's like, God damn it.
Because she'd been itching wearing all those clothes.
Right. Oh my God, that was terrible.
All those clothes.
Then she rips it off and she's like, I gotta be me. I gotta free myself.
I have to breathe.
And then Lois teases her and she's like, I see him over there. And she's like, oh God, where? She hides under the desk. Gotcha.
Such a fun character to kick around.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought this was a fun episode. It wasn't exactly the best, but it was a lot of fun. So I enjoyed everybody like being a little bit on the goofy side in this one.
You know, they would have had to do an AIDS special later on if they would have kept Kat on the show.
Yeah, probably.
It was the 90s.
Well, I'm surprised they didn't do This Is Your Brain. This is your brain on drugs. And this is your brain with Kat in your pants.
She is a very pretty woman.
She's gorgeous, yeah.
Yeah.
They chose very well with casting everybody in their show. From the secondary characters to the guest characters, just they did a fantastic job all around.
Until the second season.
Yeah, we'll get to that. All right. All right, we're going on to episode 15, The Ides of Metropolis. A fugitive hides out with Lois, who believes he is innocent, but Clark fears harboring a fugitive puts her in danger. And on the wrong side of the law, Jonathan moves in with Clark when he begins to suspect Martha is cheating on him. The cougar is in town. And this episode is not exactly my favorite of this second half, and it's kind of goofy because you've been married for 35 years. You would think Jonathan would know better by now. But
yeah,
she modeled for a nude painting.
That probably would have bothered me too.
Yeah, it would for me too.
Unless she painted it herself, like self-portrait. I don't know.
That's true. I mean, that wasn't like the strong point of this episode anyway. It was more about like the fugitive who was hiding out with Lois, but
Oh yeah, him.
he wasn't really all that memorable. And I'm like, what was his name again? I can't even figure it out. But Nigel was back in this episode at least, so
that's what I don't know about what
Yeah.
they knew. Is what his name was.
yeah, he seemed to have like a pre-existing relationship with Lois. So
He had covered. She had covered his murder trial. That's what it was, and he had started trusting her because she believed that the evidence was circumstantial at best.
yeah,
And because that she believed that he wasn't the killer, he started getting soft on her, I guess. Not like getting the hots for her, but just trusting her.
right.
And I can't find his name.
Well, while you're talking about that or looking that up, or if you're gonna still keep looking it up, one moment I liked in this was Jonathan trying to do workout in the gym, and he got a little hand with the bench press, which was really funny.
That was awesome. Clark just pushing it. And it was what, like 275?
Right, and the other guy was struggling with it. It was really funny.
That was Hal Sparks as a skateboarder. Wait, I'm on Witness.
Ides of Metropolis.
Yeah. 15.
But it was good to have Nigel back. I wrote down, oh, I guess Wasabi's gone again.
Eugene.
Okay.
And it's worth pointing out that the bad guy after them, or that was supposedly dead, was Paul Gleason.
Oh.
The biggest douche in most 80s movies, like one of the two asshole principals that would have been your high school principal.
Yeah.
The one who's not calling you a slacker.
Right. Well, could have been worse. He could have been Richard Gant as Judge Cobb at the beginning of the episode, who is also from Special Unit 2. But he didn't share a scene with anybody, so Special Unit 2 represent.
What? And he didn't eat no Jason hearts in this episode neither.
Yep. Jason goes to hell, everybody.
Oh, so
he was a coroner.
He was the first Jason. Ish.
Yeah. First reborn Jason.
Yeah. It was so cool.
I liked it. That was fun.
Oh, it's a stupid movie altogether, like what they did,
yeah.
but him fucking growling and grunting at the heart and then fucking eating it was cool.
Yeah, that was pretty wicked.
You're just kind of like, is he gonna he did
he is.
Goodness, and he's just arr.
He's like, where my goddamn steak at? Could have been worse. It could have been liver. Nope, just eat the heart.
Oh.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Any other thoughts on Ides of Metropolis?
Other than I hate Shakespeare and Et tu Brute was the corniest password I've ever heard of.
Yeah. I don't got much else to say about that one.
You suck. Oh.
You suck. Yeah, it wasn't all that great of an episode, but you watch it for the character beats. It's a filler episode.
Yeah.
What is not a filler episode is Foundling. Clark discovers that the Kryptonian orb contains recordings made by his father Jor-El, but he has barely begun to explore them when a young thief steals the artifact and sells it to the worst possible buyer, Lex Luthor. All right, Kevin, what did you like about this one?
Well, let's see here.
Was it David Warner?
Yeah, I was gonna say his dad is Ra's al Ghul. That was pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Or the TGRI guy, if you will. It was really cool to see the messages. It kind of sucks that there was a limitation, like, oh hey, I'm only gonna be able to appear to you 5 times and this shit's gonna explode. And I'm like, so what happens? Is he gonna like miss out on the other 3 messages and this thing's gonna explode? Like, golly.
Yeah.
And fortunately, they had a way of like getting around that. Like he had a telepathic link to the orb that he saw what it showed whoever activated it. So, I mean, he did get the messages. He did learn about Krypton and Jor-El and who he was. But it was a little lackluster compared to other examples of what they've done with Jor-El.
Right. Felt like this was a convenient way not to do the Fortress of Solitude and the crystals and any of that mess. So
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure. Like it worked out. And it was kind of neat to see it finally light up where you realize, oh hey, that's not Earth, that's Krypton. It's red. That's cool.
yeah, I was actually thinking like, why that actually kind of looks like Earth a little bit. So I
Yeah.
appreciated that aspect too.
Yeah, because there was parts that very much looked like Africa or the Horn of Africa. You thought you're like, okay, well, sure, it's a globe of Earth.
Yeah.
Sure.
Could have been worse.
Yeah.
Could have been a snow globe, bottled city of Candor.
That would have been cool eventually.
That would have been hilarious. Yeah. Let's see here. I don't have too much else. I really enjoyed David Warner as Jor-El, though. I thought he did a pretty good job.
Robert Costanzo in this is Louis because he knows a guy that knows a guy. Always delightful to see him. What else? Nigel again was in this. Tony J as Nigel. I love him in everything, but he just plays Lex's right hand so very, very well. Like
it's a great team.
Yeah, he's never surprised. He's never dismayed by what Lex is going to do. He's prepared for it. He's like an evil Radar O'Reilly, if you want to go back to MASH. And I love him. I really, really liked him.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I love how his chemistry rolls with John Shea. So
yeah, I love the scene where they're shooting the trap, and at the beginning he tells Clark, "I never miss."
Yep, and then he misses, and oops. Oh, you mean this clip, Kevin?
Oops. Nigel, call
the lawyers.
The lawyers.
Yes, right away, sir.
Yes.
It's just like, yep, I know.
I'm on it. I just wanted to see where it was going to land.
Yep, I think we missed him. It just reminds me of the scene from RoboCop 2. Oh, we got to call damage control.
Yeah, right. The press is going to have a field day with this.
Yep, pretty much. Like, oh, damn. Imagine that clay pigeon like landing from the height of the top of that building onto the ground. And probably like, oh my God, I don't even want to think about that.
It would be messed up. It would be messed up. It would
be
shatter.
Bad. Oh, Lex. John Shea's fantastic as Lex.
Yes. Yeah. He is, I would say he's probably my second favorite Lex Luthor overall. My first being Michael Rosenbaum. John Shea's probably my second favorite Lex Luthor.
Third would be Gene for me.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That was a classic character that he played, but there is just a different type of Lex Luthor now that we know. And that was not Gene Hackman. He was a different character altogether. A criminal mastermind, but that criminal mastermind was not a CEO. He was not Donald Clamp, for lack of a better term, from Gremlins 2.
Yeah.
A guy that had his fingers in everything. He was less. He was the same character, but he had less resources, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, they did the best they could, but
yeah.
I like how they eventually got around to the proper, like, Lex Luthor's talents and craziness. He really gets crazy in the last couple episodes, I'll tell you that much.
Yes, he does. Especially when messing with Superman.
Yeah. I'm messing with Superman. Kryptonite.
Oh, he was having so much fun with that.
Yeah, he was. That was actually pretty clever how they ended up doing that. But Superman, you are not faster than a speeding bullet. But what you could be is the rival. Episode 17, the Metropolis Star begins landing stories before the Daily Planet with Linda King, an old rival of Lois, getting all the scoops and convincing Lois that she's getting Clark's attentions as well. I really like this episode. I think it's kind of fun to see a bit of a competition with somebody else other than like Clark. And I also like the Metropolis Star being headed by
Dean.
Yep, Dean Stockwell.
Yep. God, he's amazing. Absolutely amazing. It was a little hard to watch this after seeing him in Quantum Leap because I loved him so much from Quantum Leap. So seeing him as a bad guy, I was kind of like, wait, this doesn't compute.
Yeah.
But golly,
I
he
even
was
remember
so
when
good.
he acted with a mustache for years, and then he got rid of the mustache, and then I got used to Quantum Leap. It's like, oh my god! Now again, whenever he does a bad guy role, it's like, oh man, I just want to call him, say, you better call Ziggy.
Yeah, right. It's stupid. It's not. It's not working.
Yep.
Was Quantum Leap like the only thing he played a good guy in? Because like he's a bad guy in just about everything else I see him in, like cartel
Relatively.
leader. Yeah, but he was so sweet and fun in Quantum Leap. So yeah,
it was fantastic. Yeah.
But that I think was the first thing I really remember seeing him in. I know it wasn't the first thing I remember seeing him in. I'm sure he was a bad guy in another action film, A-Team or whatever. I don't know, but yeah, that's just really what I grew up being like, oh, that's who he is.
Oh yeah. But I like Dean was so goddamn good. And I'm like, oh man, I want to see him again. And then when they bring up like the Metropolis Star again in a different episode, it's like, oh man, is he gonna come back or not? I don't think he really does though.
No. And speaking of Miss King, Nancy Everhart playing Linda King. Oh my
dear God.
I'm never unhappy to see her ever. I don't think that I realized until this last viewing that it was her, but gosh, I've had a crush on her since I was a kid.
Right. She was excellent. I liked her and Lois's dynamic, and yeah, you did this when I was back in college, and well, you did that when I was in college. Like their banter back and forth was kind of fun.
Yeah, and like I love how everything that she did to try to justify herself was like digging her hole a little bit further and making her less of a person. Like,
yeah.
You think I'm not a friend just because I'm going to bang your boyfriend? Jeez. Yes, motherfucker. That's exactly what that means.
Yep. Pretty much. But it's nothing personal.
Yeah. I just want to get ahead. If I have to give a little head to get a little head, whatever.
Hey, that's how the checks roll.
Giggity.
There's a good little fight scene going on. It just made me laugh.
I want to say that's also probably where they got the plot synopsis for Tomorrow Never Dies.
Probably.
We're going to wag the dog.
Yep, pretty much. I pretty much agree with that. Any other thoughts on this one? Bo knows they did their best way to spoof the Bo Jackson thing.
Oh God. Yes.
Unless you're in our generation, you might not know exactly what we're talking about, but they did a Bo Jackson Bo knows.
That was so horrible. And I'm sure when I first watched this, I probably got excited and like, it's Bo Jackson, yay! But yeah, I as soon as I saw him, my eyebrow just twitched up. Like, why is he here? Oh no, he's not gonna. Yep, he's gonna say it. He's gonna say it again, or he's gonna keep saying it.
Oh yeah.
Okay, we're gonna get a clicker every time he fucking says it now. Take a drink. Take a drink.
We're gonna beat the dead horse.
Yeah, but Bo don't know that. Oh, there was the punchline.
Yeah.
I don't know. Funny. It was relevant at the time. It was very culturally relevant at the time. Just very silly and passe looking back.
Yeah, like some people would probably watch this and be like, that was kind of stupid. What did that have to do with anything? And like, well, you got to remember, this was 1994.
We just sold some Reeboks is what we did.
Yeah. Trying to cover for his career that's tanking in the middle of it. So
Gotta pay for all that cocaine, steroids.
It's a hell of a drug.
Bo was awesome though. I really did like
Oh,
him.
he was pretty good. He should have just stuck with baseball, but
I think so. He was doing that in football, right?
Football. Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
Two-sport player.
And then Michael Jordan's like, I could do the same thing. No, you can't, bitch. No, you can't.
Stick to basketball, Michael.
Yeah. No baseball for you.
Yep. He couldn't bat his way out of the minor leagues, so.
Not even when he tried buying his own.
Oh my God, right? All right. Let's see. Episode 18, Vatman. Lex Luthor creates a clone of Superman and teaches him to believe he is meant to kill and succeed the original Superman. Meanwhile, Jimmy suspects Perry is contemplating suicide. Perry was just having a midlife crisis. He wasn't trying to off himself. And I like the two different clones. I'm like, hey, Bizarro Superman, right on. Oh, no. It's only going to last like one episode. Damn.
Yeah, but golly, I want to say this is probably the best storytelling of Bizarro that I've seen, like in live action wise. Like Smallville was okay, but they did it well in the sense that when you first see him, he's very much an infant, or a toddler, a spoiled toddler at that. The only thing that they didn't do to make him like Bizarro in that vein of the story is he didn't talk backwards. He wasn't stunted mentally, and his face wasn't cubic.
Right.
Otherwise, yeah, golly, they did a really good job of telling the Lex clones Superman and creates Bizarro. I liked that story. They do a good job. Yeah, they do a good job of retelling that in the Lego DC Superheroes, where Bizarro comes back and Superman's super embarrassed of him because everyone's like, "You guys are brothers?" No, not twins. Because he's ugly. But they retell it where he breaks out of LexCorp and then comes back because he needs to save Bizarro World, so he needs to create a Bizarro Justice League.
Wow.
And it's fucking awesome. It's awesome. Everyone's so backwards and shit. So like Bizarro Wonder Woman, instead of being like a savage princess, she's a coward.
Oh my God.
It's funny.
Interesting. I didn't know about that. We had a good cameo in this episode with Mr. McKean.
Yes. Whose wife played Lana Lang in Superman 3, which you guys will have seen yesterday. Last night. We've recorded that last night. So that was really cool, which is funny because they didn't realize that she was anything to do with Superman when they cast her in Smallville.
No, really?
Yeah, and they didn't realize that Michael McKean had already been in Lois and Clark when they cast him in Smallville.
Oh, geez.
So it's just kind of like, oh my gosh, like these are great actors and they're part of the Superman culture. Get with it, people.
Yep.
Know your source material.
It helps. It really does.
Kinda.
Yeah, Bizarro Superman kissing Lois was really funny.
Yeah, like that wasn't him. Like she immediately knows.
Yeah, because Superman's putting the moves on her like aggressively. Like, hey baby, what's going on over here?
Oh God, when he called her hot, it was so awkward. You're just kind of like,
it even felt weird for the audience watching too. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, like Superman went creepy mode for a second. I'm not, oh.
It's like, ooh.
And again, we see that on Superman 3, which is also uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's also why I included a very fun image on the thumbnail for that one too.
Oh shit.
Did you see that?
No, not yet.
Oh God. Yeah. When you it's a picture of Superman taking a shot. So.
Oh yeah. I thought you were talking about when he had his arm around Lana, like, "What's up, baby?"
Oh yeah, right. Oh God, that's funny.
I could save those people later. Let's get down. How you doing?
Yeah, how you doing? Not much else about this. It's a fun episode. I enjoyed this one, and I just felt like, you could have had a two-parter out of this one if you really were trying, and you could have left something a little more open-ended, I thought. But
this would have been fun to spread apart first half of the season, second half of the season.
Yeah.
As opposed to back to back. I think it would have been a lot of fun to do this as a callback episode.
Yeah, I think so. This would have been a good one for that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Perry doing the bridge jump with the bungee cord. Like, oh, I did it. Okay, I'm good. I'm never doing that ever again.
Yeah, right. And then Jimmy's like, "Oh, I thought you were gonna." No, what the hell's wrong with you?
Yep, pretty much.
And that was one of the best rolling gags of the whole fucking episode. Jimmy trying to coyishly tell him, "I know what you're going through. I'm here if you need anything.
Yeah.
You mean a lot to me. I didn't really have a dad, but you are that figure to me." And Perry's just kind of like, all right, thank you.
Yeah, cool. He's like, you're being weird.
Meanwhile, he's wearing like nice clothes that you'd see in Vegas, like a high roller wearing in Vegas or some shit.
Right.
Tacky clothes that you'd see
very tacky.
Yeah. And the hairpiece, which was really nice, but was very noticeable. Yeah, hairpiece.
Oh God, that was terrible looking on him.
I was kind of like, hey, I kind of like that myself, but no.
Yep. Lane did a fantastic job, I thought.
Yeah, God, he is a treat to watch in anything.
Yeah, when he has a chance to carry an episode a little bit, he absolutely nails it. So
they let him sing.
Yeah, that's right. They did. I forgot about that.
Once or twice. Once to the not receptionist,
the maid.
Yeah, the janitorial lady.
Oh yeah,
when the husband punches him.
Yep, all dressed up as Elvis.
So perfect.
He's really good. Episode 19, Fly Hard. This is the Die Hard kind of ripoff episode. Armed criminals invade the Daily Planet, taking everyone inside hostage, including Clark, Lois, Perry, and Lex Luthor. Clark is unable to use his powers for fear he will put the others in danger. The only thing in danger in this episode was Chakotay's acting career. And he certainly tried to do his best Hans Gruber, but it didn't quite work out for him. So,
no.
What did you think about this one?
Boring. This episode was kind of boring.
Yeah, I wrote this is kind of meh, and then I also wanted to ask you, like, who the hell is Jack?
Jack is the kid that stole the globe, that broke into Clark's room, broke into Clark's apartment, and stole the globe and sold it to Nigel.
Yeah, I remember him from that episode, but I'm like, why is he even back? Is kind of my question. Is like, who the fuck is this kid?
Clark got him a job at the Daily Planet, and they brought him back to see if he tested well, and I guess he did, but I guess just not well enough to bring him back to the next season.
Yeah, because I'm like, I don't even remember this dude except from the other episode. That's literally what I wrote down here. I'm like, who is Jack? Like, who is this kid? Like, He's
Like
just going
nobody.
to be competing with Jimmy for screen time. Like, what the hell are we doing here?
Yes. And what they did to get around that is they put the two of them together.
Yeah.
Except for Superman, or Jimmy is Superman's pal.
Right.
Like that's the title. That's how it is. So Jack didn't need to be Clark and Superman's pal.
Right.
That he did detract away from Jimmy in that regard. But they did share their scenes mostly together.
Yeah.
Mostly.
I don't know if that was trying to be like, hey, like pass the torch over to this guy. If you're leaving the show at the end of the season, like you need to help out, make somebody else look good. Oh no, we're just going to end up recasting you and getting rid of both of you. We don't need the extra paycheck. That's what it felt like.
We're going to hire this kid instead and pay him half of what we were paying Landis.
Yeah, instead of training your replacement, you're both gone.
You're both gone.
Jeez. I mean, the episode's rated pretty good on IMDb. I didn't think much of this one other than like Kat coming back, then being like, I got some sexy lingerie I'm gonna wear for round 2, 3, and 4 upstairs.
Yeah, like everyone's there when they're not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And she's upstairs having sex. Everyone knows it. The boss is there knowing she's upstairs having sex, doesn't give a shit. She's flaunting it in front of everybody, like coming down for a glass of water and another nightie.
Oh my God. That she just keeps stashed in her desk. It's like, girl, do you have a full wardrobe in there? What's up?
And she's waving it at them like, look what I got you guys. Peace.
Oh my God.
I loved her so fucking much. Like,
she gave an element of a zing to the show, I thought.
Yes, my God, she was so much fun.
Yeah.
Like that's someone you want to have in the office with you. Not the prissy bitch that she could be, but just someone that's going to be that fucking firecracker life of the party. At least someone you want her there during the Christmas parties. She's going to have too much wine.
Oh, too much wine. Yeah. I was going to look her up really quick and be like, what was she doing around this time?
Stuff and things.
Well, I know she was ultimately on like Babylon 5, but let's see, filmography.
I don't watch rap.
1993, she did the movie Doll Man versus Demonic Toys, which was a Sci-Fi Channel sort of thing. Or no, that was Full Moon. Never mind. Let's see here. This is the movies. TV.
Ooh,
she was through the 80s.
Garfield and Friends.
Let's see.
DS9. Sybil. Wings. Dallas. JR Returns.
Oh, this was 93.
Okay. Highlander.
Let's see. Burke's Law, Garfield Friends, The Commish, Deep Space Night, but you're just talking individual episodes.
Yeah.
It looks like she joined the show Lonesome Dove in 95, 96 as a main cast. And then
I don't remember. Was that as popular as the original? I don't remember.
So
I want to say it lasted a while.
I think it's possible, yeah. Oh, she was in Babylon 5 final season, so season 5. River of Souls TV movie and Captain Elizabeth Lockley. Main cast season 5, 1998. Yeah, so that was actually a few years later. Okay, interesting.
Interesting.
And she still does some she does a movie every once in a while, it looks like. Last one she did is called Alien Vacation, which is in post-production, and she did Babylon 5 The Road Home, which was the animated movie from I like that. I think I did a little review on our channel for that, so.
Oh, nice.
But I've always liked Tracy, so I don't really have a problem with her.
No, golly, like I said, she's a firecracker on this show. She adds a great element.
Yeah, she was a lot of fun, and I think this is probably her last like big appearance on the show. I think she's in the other episodes, but not doing a whole lot.
No,
She's just kind of floating around in the background. Yeah, and you're just hearing me flip my page for notes. But Fly Hard, it's rated high. I was kind of on it. Jimmy's basically running around in ducks. He's doing the part of John McClane that does absolutely nothing.
And then gets caught
by the true mastermind, the old man.
Yeah, that was funny. I am the man. You are the man.
Yep. You the man. All right. Then we're going to get on to the big two-parter here at the end. Barbarians at the Planet, episode number 20. When Lois hesitates to accept Lex Luthor's proposal of marriage, citing attachments to her job and friends, she unwittingly gives Lex the motivation to take away from her everything she holds dear. Yep, Lex takes over the Daily Planet in this one. Hostile takeover of the paper. Closes it down, blows it up, and does everything he can to make sure that he gets Lois's full attention.
Yep.
What did you think about this one?
It was a very long snooze fest. I didn't feel it. Like, yeah, he had to come out as a bad guy, and he does. He comes out as a really sinister bad guy. Like he comes in wanting to look like a hero, and he fucks everybody over the very first day.
Yep.
And gaslights them. Well, yeah, I got you your job back. It's not the very same job, but it's a job nonetheless.
Yep.
Don't you appreciate that? So I mean, it got a little old because he kept twisting the knife and twisting the knife and twisting the knife. But the part that got old wasn't that, because you need to see Lex being evil. Lex was about to come out as evil to the entire world. So, right. I mean, yeah, you need to see that. But Lois being an investigative reporter and as Clark saying not investigating got old after a while. So, like,
yeah,
that part to me, I was just kind of like, come on, Lois, get with it, sweetheart. This is getting dumb.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that.
Otherwise, it was okay. It was a good two-parter. There was nothing wrong with it. Again, I liked Mrs. Cox. She was pretty funny. To your point, the banter between her and Lois is pretty goddamn fantastic. Is there a Mr. Cox? There is. Where is he? Dead. I'm sorry. I'm not.
yeah. Pretty plain. And then Lois is like, I'm scared of her. She scares me.
yeah. And then again, more gaslighting. Oh, well, if you don't like her, I can get rid of her right now. But I mean, what would happen to her?
It's super funny. But yeah, honestly, I thought of like this old wrestling clip, like when Triple H was getting married to Stephanie McMahon on TV, and they were renewing their vows, and he says to Stephanie, "It's times like these I see you for what you truly are, a no good lying bitch." It's what popped into my head.
I remember that.
Yeah. I totally would have made a clip for that, but WWE nails people's clips. So if I was to try that would not work out well.
Lord.
Yeah, they're bad. You can maybe do like 1 second, but it's not worth it if I can't do the whole thing. So
no.
But I enjoyed the episode. You do have a fair point about the nagginess getting a bit old. I did like how Lex was being a true nut. Like he's going full evil mode on, I'm going to get rid of the planet. I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to get Lois on a TV show network. She's going to be a big producer there. And also like super editor-in-chief Jeff.
That
snotty college kid who thinks he knows how to run a paper.
And assures Mr. White, don't worry, it will be a seamless transition or a painless transition for everyone else.
Yep.
For everyone else. Like,
or everyone else.
Come on, man. Fuck you.
Yeah. Oh, and this is also the episode where Clark gets totally friend-zoned by Lois.
Yeah, that was hard. And that was another part of the hard episode to watch, is like the love triangle between the two people. Oh, come on.
Well,
now.
technically 3 people. Superman and Clark, even though they're the same person, Lois looks at them separately. Like, she's totally in love with Superman. She friend zones Clark, but then she's got a love affair with Lex.
Well, yeah, that part was already unnecessary. But the part for me is like Clark and Superman have the same problem.
Yeah.
But they don't fucking fix the problem. They just kind of add to it, or he just kind of adds to it and exacerbates it by telling her how he feels as Clark and then telling her to piss up a rope as Superman. So you're just kind of like, no. It ended lackluster. Him saying, I don't love you at all. I was just trying to get you I was saying anything I could to make you not marry Lex.
Yeah, that's in the final episode.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Like, to me, that's where I just kind of got to the point where I was like, no, that whole thing made it not worth it.
Yeah. It's like, oh, we're going to drag this out for another season. Oh my God. How long is it going to take before you two like finally figure your shit out?
They don't get married until season 3, I don't think, do they?
I believe that's correct. I think is it the finale of season 2? This is where my memory gets a little fuzzy with season 2. But when he proposes to her and she asks him, so who's asking me to marry him? You or Superman? Is it because she calls him out, like that's when she knows, she basically acknowledges, I know you're fucking Superman. And I remember that because it was like, that was a big deal, because watching it live even back then, like there's some memories that I have of this show that everybody in school was talking about, because almost everybody was watching this show back then that I knew.
Oh yeah.
And when, she says yes, and that big reveal that she knows exactly that he's Superman, that popped everybody. So we're not there yet in this season, though.
No, I know. It's rough because you want to get there. You're like, oh, they're meant to be together.
And they do. So I like this episode. I think it's a good setup. I'm not gonna say I love it though. There's a bit of annoying, I don't know, there's just so many little annoying things like you were just talking about that just kind of drag it down for me now on a rewatch. And back when this was first airing, I probably didn't give a damn about any of that, but as an adult and just seeing her be like, oh yes, I'm gonna marry you, Lex, yet we've barely kissed, and I totally love you, and thank you for wanting to wait until my wedding night to sleep together. It's like, girl, you're what?
you know he got HPV, right? Just from Mrs.
He's banged just about every woman in Metropolis. Like, come on.
And then killed half of them.
Yeah, or got rid of them somehow, one way or the other.
Yeah. Jeez. Ensured their
even Kat slept with Lex. Like, Jesus.
Did she?
It was insinuated or implied.
That's awesome.
So, but then, what?
Fucking love her.
Dude, Kat is, God, not having her around is going to be weird when we get to season 2. We'll have to think about when we want to do that, actually.
Yeah.
Well, we got some time coming up in a few months that we can swing on back to this. So,
I'm down.
Maybe, yeah.
Because I want to.
Maybe we'll tie it into July. Superman months.
Ooh, I dig
the new movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, We'll have to throw in Corman's Fantastic Four.
Hey, that'd be all right. We can have a fun month. We don't have it planned out that far, so.
No, we really don't. We're kind of like Disney. We don't have our shit put together just yet. We've got a good idea, rough sketch line that was very flimsy.
Yeah, this is why we put our schedules out kind of towards the beginning of the next month. And then anything else that we have penciled in, if we need to change it, we just work it around.
Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of what they did in the final episode, The House of Luthor. Clark, Perry, and Jimmy and Jack started investigating the bombing and the sale of the Daily Planet. Meanwhile, Lois and Lex prepare for their big day. And this is a fine episode. We got James Earl Jones in this one. He shows up as the guy who basically saves the planet at the end of the episode. I did like how Superman had to struggle to get out of his imprisoned Kryptonian bars, so to speak, or however they made that work, where they were just channeling kryptonite energy through the bars. I couldn't quite figure that part out.
I don't know. Like, yeah, was it lasers? Was he shooting projected light?
That's what I was like. What exactly is going on? I mean, we all get it. It's kryptonite, but like, how is it? What is this delivery method? Didn't really get into that, but
definitely lasers, definitely
lasers. But it's a pretty good ending to this season. It doesn't really leave on a cliffhanger. It just basically, Lex jumps off of a building, offs himself, quote unquote, but the body mysteriously vanishes from the morgue.
Oh, I still remember watching this as a kid, though. I remember that scene. Oh, the scene of him going and falling down. I was like,
oh my god,
always ingrained into my brain.
I remember. I think I remember a little bit of that too, especially him escaping from the wedding, and that's why I had the thought of like the Triple H, like, you no good lying bitch. Because even up to that very moment, Lois was still like, but it's Lex. He means well. It's like, oh my god, woman, get off your high horse. And then she realizes, oh yeah, he's done all these bad things. God damn it. She's like, this is supposed to be the best day of my life.
Can we take a moment to appreciate the fact that her mom was Noelle Neal? That was just
that was pretty dope.
Yeah. So, and Kids at Home, that's Lois Lane from the 1950s. She was just absolutely amazing. I don't remember if she was the first or second Lois Lane. Noelle was either the first or second, or Phyllis Coates was.
Okay.
But they both played Lois on that season or on that series.
Right on.
And they were
super
wonderful.
Cool to see that.
Yeah, and then I want to say she was also in Superman 78. She had a brief part on the train where the little girl goes, "There's a man running up against the train there."
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
That sounds right. I think I actually remember that.
Yeah, so it was cool to see her playing Elaine in this, and she had a nice role. It was better than the woman from War of the Worlds had in the TV series.
So, oh God,
it was a little bit better.
Invoking that name again.
I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
I'm past I haven't met my quota for taunts at it this year.
Yeah, no kidding. You are a little bit behind on that quota.
So, but otherwise, yeah, you're right. The ending was there's not much to it. The falling scene was really cool, but it does not leave you on a cliffhanger. It kind of speeds past it by showing you like spinning headlines.
The newspaper thing, yeah.
Yeah, in lieu of expositions, you're like, oh, okay, so that's what happened. And it's worth noting that they did mention previously that like clones have been a thing in like the last 3 or 4 episodes. Clones are mentioned at least once in each episode, I think.
Yeah, those are the big tease.
Yeah. So wink, wink, wink for when we come back in July.
Yeah, right. Because you had also mentioned something about the early tease of Brainiac.
In this one?
Or was that were you talking about something else?
Superman
I thought you were
3.
talking about the show. Oh, you were. Oh, yeah, that's right. You were watching Superman 3.
Oh, there was Superman 3 where the computer is supposed to be Brainiac, but
Right.
in Superman 78, the computer that Zod utilizes or helps utilize to confuse or lie to the other Kryptonians that the planet was not in danger, that's an interpretation of what could be Brainiac.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, this was a exciting episode to end the show. I thought this was a better episode than the one before it, Barbarians at the Planet. So at least it followed it up and it ended on a pretty good note. Other than, oh, I never loved you. Well, he's got his fingers crossed behind his back. It's like, bro, come on. This is a bit goofy even for this show.
Yeah, I didn't even want to wink at that.
Yeah. Don't
I don't
bat an
know
eye.
that kind of killed the whole thing for me. I didn't care for it. I was like, I know we got to carry this on and we want to make the series go on, but gosh, you could have ended it a little bit better than that, with them at least acknowledging something.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Rather than, well, let's go back to work tomorrow, Lois, and be nobody again to each other.
Yep. And as she says, great, we're back to normal. And that's basically how I felt about the show.
Yeah. And you're just kind of like, yeah, all right, whatever.
Would have been a good chance to kind of give a little bit of a cliffhanger on, hey, things might be a little bit different going forward, instead of, oh, hey, we're back to normal.
Yeah.
And the show does eventually like evolve into the next season. It's just,
oh, sure.
Just
and
that this is not how you end a season, in my opinion.
No. The only thing that they really ended it well with was ending Lex's storyline for the season.
Yeah.
And even then, that was sporadic. Like all the deeds that he did, that was not one continuous storyline. You didn't really see a storyline of things he was doing until towards the end of the season.
Right.
But otherwise, it was fine. I mean, it wasn't wrong. It wasn't wrong by any means. It was just Lex doing evil shit in various episodes.
Oh, yeah. And even going forward, like, we don't really see Lex all that much more in the show. Like, after this one, I think he's only in, like, let's take a look here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's only in a handful more episodes, really, after this for the rest of the show.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah.
Bummer.
Double Jeopardy, Seconds, Shadow of a Doubt. Let's see. A lot of these were earlier in the season. So, yeah. He comes back for, it looks like, yeah, The Phoenix, Double Jeopardy, Seconds, and Shadow of a Doubt. So... And in that one, in Shadow of a Doubt, it's only as a voice role. So,
oh wow, I'm just a disembodied voice.
And disembodied voice. Yeah. So he's got one episode probably in the next season, 2, and then in the 3rd, and then just a voice role in the 4th season. It looks like.
Wow.
Well, he didn't like the travel. So he was flying from like New York to LA all the time.
If it's not somebody having to do that, it's somebody going from LA to Canada. So I respect that.
Yeah. And then he ends up going off to do like a TV show for WGN, Mutant X or something like that, I think it was called.
Yes.
He did like 3 seasons or so of that one too. So
it was a Marvel show, wasn't it?
Ish. Yeah.
Ish? Yeah. Or there was a Mutant X comic book that they liked the name, but had nothing to do with the book.
Yeah, I think I remember when they were doing the Mutant X show, it almost had like a lawsuit because like X-Men were like, we got to make sure that people understand that this is not the same sort of mutants from the X-Men universe.
Oh, okay. So then okay, never mind.
So there was a little bit of that when that show was on. I tried to watch that show. I wasn't really that much for that one.
Oh, yeah, because Mutant X, I think, was Cable from the Age of Apocalypse.
Oh, okay.
That's the Justin question.
I think so. Yep. Okay. He did 50 episodes in Mutant X.
Wow.
And that was a total of 66 episodes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that ran for 3 seasons, but he was in like about 50 of them.
That's not bad.
That's still pretty solid.
Yeah.
Now I remember why I watched that show. Victoria Pratt was in it.
That would do it.
Yeah. Well, on that note, you got any final thoughts on season 1 of Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman?
Just good times, good memories. This is a phenomenal show. It was a phenomenal time to watch the show when it was on live. Yeah. It was fun to go back to school on Monday morning and talk about what Superman did the night before. Gosh,
yeah, that's right. This was a Sunday night show.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, it was really cool to go talk to with your friends, and what a gateway drug to reading and imagination, because comic books are fucking great. If you have kids, and if you're watching this show and you don't read comic books, I'm not sure what you're doing here.
Right.
Like everybody watching knows comic books are books. There's no difference between reading a novel and reading a comic book. You're going to get a complex story depending upon what you're reading. We keep talking about X-Men. Anything with Beast in it is going to have some fucking complex writing in it and some very clever storyline to it, because that's just the way that character is designed. I just 0 point myself, and we're not even on 0 point reviews.
That's okay.
What comic books, X-Men. Anyway, I liked this. Looking back on it, I really liked it. It's reading comic books. They're good for your kids. This show is a gateway drug for watching reading comic books, which is a gateway drug for reading other types of books, which is a gateway for wondrous imagination and learning how to do so many great things. So I love superhero shows because it's a great way to capture a kid's imagination. I'm a 45-year-old kid and I'm still watching it comfortably, and I love it.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the hell out of watching this show, and while we are like a little bit iffy on some episodes, it's still a fun show to watch, and it still will grab you. It's just some episodes are going to be better than others. It's just how it goes. But I think that this season was pretty consistent overall. Great cast, highly enjoyable. I even bought the DVD set. Which is back here, so I got the first season. I'm gonna slowly be getting the other seasons. Gotta find decent copies used, really, and not spend too much money on them, because if you want brand new, and like season 2 and season 3 are like $50 to $60 each, and I'm like, I am not dropping that kind of money on a brand new set.
Are these out of print, or is Warner Brothers just very proud of themselves?
Well, there's a lot of copies of season 1. I got that for like $12 on Amazon, and but the other ones, that seems to be where the struggle is. Season 4 is not too bad, but I'll eventually I'm gonna get them all, because I'm enjoying the hell out of watching those. It's bringing back like good vibes. Like I would kick the weekends off on Friday with like the X-Files, and then end the weekends with like Lois and Clark here, because it was all at the same time as that, and I'm like, that was my jam. Start with X-Files and with Superman.
Yeah. That was a really good time period.
Yep. And I don't got much else to say. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button, share, and subscribe this video out there. Also, when you hit our when you subscribe down below, please hit the bell notification so you can stay tuned to all of our video content. And we will see you next time.